Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Leslie, and if you haven't been here before, you've wandered across my little corner of the internet. I want to start this video off with an apology. There was no video on Friday. Actually, in all reality, there was 5 videos on Friday. And no matter what I did and how many times I tried or how long it took, I could not get things to work. And so I got just a tad frustrated and took Friday and walked away. It was a write off in the craft room. What could go wrong went wrong. Today, we're taking a fresh start. And we're making a sublimation t shirt that is part of a request. It's actually going to be worn as a pajama, but it was a t shirt that was given to a friend in a bunch of stuff that she received from a friend. And so we believe that it is a women's medium. We're hopeful. And we're just going to put a design on it. How did I go about this process? Well, I went on Jennifer Maker and I have already purchased the sublimation cookbook. So I printed off the page for doing t-shirts and followed the steps. Excuse me. And the first step it said to do was, of course, to lint roll this shirt and set it aside. Print off your sublimation print using sublimation ink on sublimation paper with a sublimation only printer like my 2760 Epson. It's never done anything else and it has worked beautifully. So on to Creative Fabric I pulled down the design, I printed it, I set my easy press, auto press, to 400, and it's going to press for 45 seconds. So I need to make sure I got that right. Sorry, guys. And it's just going to press with auto pressure. I did tear, just like on this one, I tore around the edges of the design. And this helps to prevent the paper from, how do they word this? Making paper lines on your finished shirt. Okay? I then re-rolled it with a lint brush because I do have animals galore running around. Then I pressed it to take out any moisture, waited a couple of seconds, placed my design where I wanted it, face down, of course, put the heat tape on, inserted my pressing pillow, which is right in there, to prevent any blowback from getting onto my machine or the back of the t-shirt, pardon me. Put parchment over the pillow to prevent the pillow from being sublimated on. And now everything's in place. I'm going to also put parchment paper over the top here to prevent it from sublimating on the top of my machine. And let's pull down. And in 45 seconds, we should have a sublimated t-shirt. So let me have a look here. Okay. So it does say that you can remove your sublimation transfer after 10 seconds. So you might notice a bit of sublimation uh, smoke there, but that's okay. I am well ventilated. So now this piece of sublimate that is going to be used to prevent glue and stuff or paint from getting on my desktop. And we will take this over to the other side where you can talk with me. So I'll just pause you and be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back over on the other side. And I'm just going to move you down. And we will pull out the pressing pillow. And that will help my t-shirt to cool down just that bit faster because, of course, at 400 it gets very warm. So don't waste your parchment paper after you've pulled it out. Don't reuse it for like pressing anything, but you could definitely, if you're painting and don't want to mess, to clean up, paint on top of it, and that will help to use it up. Now, here we go. Our print is cooled off, and I can't wait to see how it looks. I'm hoping it worked. There we go, guys. Isn't that adorable? I probably could have pressed a little bit more in order to have more ink on, but you know what? I don't want to because I don't want to turn my shirt yellow from overpressing. So there we go, guys. I think she is going to absolutely love that. I think it will be a big hit. There we go. So sublimating on this was that easy. 1 second, I need to grab a drink. Now, if you don't have, say, an auto press to sublimate with, you can also use an easy press or a mini press. Don't quote me on this. I have not looked it up. I believe that you could use an iron, but I'm not sure how it would work. Now, this is a mini press. I just keep mine in a bag because I get tired of chasing the cord. So this little mini press could, whoops, which has stuff on the bottom, which I will, oh, I know what that is. Yeah, I used it to loosen up some glue, and that's what that is. I'll clean it up. But that's all it is. It's nice and small. It's meant to be moving at all times. And you would have to use it on high for 70 seconds. Then check to be sure that it was on. You could also use an easy press. Now I have lent mine out, so I can't show you. But it is the big square press that sits on top, and it's got a handle across the top. And you would use it for 385 for 40 seconds with a light pressure. And you would get just as good a result, I believe. I use my Easy Press constantly, and I love it. So there we go. There is that one. Now, on Friday, what was I trying to accomplish? Well, I was making bookmarks. And yes, it should be the simplest thing in the world. But for some reason on Friday, it just was not. So here are 2 bookmarks. What are they, that you ask? They are scrapbook paper. Isn't that handy? It's two-sided scrapbook paper. That simple, that easy. I then put it through my laminator and laminated them. And they are so cute. These were pre-made tassels that I got with these bookmarks. Why are they different, you ask? Well, it's quite simple. They are acrylic. And so I used vinyl for these ones. So if you don't have a whole bunch of scrapbook paper that you like and could turn into bookmarks, you could go on Amazon and get yourself some cute little acrylic bookmarks. And then what I did was on the back, I used permanent vinyl. But on the front, I used iron-on vinyl. Front iron-on, back permanent. How did I use iron-on without melting, you ask? I used my mini press on its lowest setting, and I just kept patiently going at it until it stuck. Now, what was my issue on Friday that I couldn't get these done? Well, first of all, power outage. That got cured, and I thought, okay, I'm running downstairs. I'm getting this done. I'm, gung ho. Then my Cricut decided, I'm not going to connect to nothing. I'm not going to connect to the internet. I don't like you. I'm not connecting to your computer. So, all right, well, what do we do now? We get on the computer and we go and we pick, a few designs that we had already saved for something else, and we use them. That way I didn't need the internet for my Cricut. But my Cricut, no, not even with the Cricut hardwired into the computer would it cut. It just packed itself up and went on vacation. And then when it finally did cut, did I remember to downsize? No. Okay, recut it. Once I recut it, did I remember to uh, make sure that it was the right way? No, I mirrored it out of habit. So it was backwards. So I flipped it and I tried again. And it took forever and a half, but it got done. It was just one of those frustrating days where it's something I've done so many times, but it just wasn't following the loop. It wasn't going along smoothly on a roll. And so I had to shut her down and walk away. But my point in making the bookmarks was this is something that you can do with the kids. This one, be very careful doing with kids. They get very hot, and I did have to place a little bit of weight on top of them because they did start to warp a little. The acrylic started to warp. But Christmas gifts for the person in your life who reads. You could give them a couple of handmade bookmarks and a gift card to the local bookstore. As for this one, what happens if you don't have a sublimation printer? That is always a question I get. I want to create that, but I don't have. Do you possibly have some vinyl, or could you purchase a little bit of vinyl and make this? Could you possibly bring it to a friend with a sublimation printer and say, I really want this on a tote bag or a t-shirt or a pillow. A pillow would be adorable. There's the brain rolling forward again. And so There are always alternatives. Think outside the box. Maybe, just maybe, you just want to print it off nicely and put it in a frame that someone could hang on the wall above their bed. You know, I'm sure that a youngster of about 10 years old would love it. How do I know that? My granddaughter has this little character all over her bedroom. So, guys, there we go. We have sublimated a t shirt, and I've given you alternatives, and I have shown you Friday's frustrations. I will be back on Friday, all things being equal, with some 3D printing and possibly some laser cuts. We're putting the computer in there today so that we can go straight into that room, do laser cutting while you guys are watching, and not have to take, you know, the laptop and the whole kit back and forth. So fingers crossed that works out. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope that you think outside the box and find ways for your creativity to come forward and shine. Take care, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye.